Because the fact that these kids can go to school in slippers, pajamas, and a bonnet and it be okay. And don't tell me nothing about Northwest was out in the streets with a bonnet, some pajamas, and some slippers on. Don't tell me nothing about them. That girl ain't black. Oh, my life, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tip your favorite narrator via Cash App at $NAROB on YouTube. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes you, can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Hey y'all, the paying members, they already know. Now, you all will know. Let's begin reading Angel on My Shoulder by Natalie Cole. Y'all, don't forget, the puppies are right here. Well, there's one and there's two. So if you hear snorts and grunts and stuff like that, you know it's the puppies. Well, Lulu's 3. The baby ain't a year yet. All this was before I was born. By the time I arrived, the neighborhood had adjusted to us, more or less. But we were still the only black people for miles around. I was born Natalie Maria Cole at 6:07 p.m. on February 6, 1950. At what was then called Cedars of Lebanon Hospital. I weighed in at 7 pounds, 11 ounces. I was my parents' firstborn child, but I have an older sister, Carole, also known as Cookie, and that takes some explaining. My mother, Maria, had 2 sisters, Carole and Charlotte. Carole married and had a daughter, but died of tuberculosis in May of 1949. Since her husband had died the year before, her 4-year-old daughter, Cookie, was an orphan. My parents adopted her and brought her home to Hancock Park right about the time my mother realized she was pregnant with me. Carole got the nickname Cookie from my father's favorite comic strip, Blondie. Cookie was Dagwood's daughter. I remember comic strips, y'all. After I was born, my mother's other sister, my Aunt Charlotte, also came to Los Angeles and was instrumental in raising us. Cookie and I called her Baba. We all loved the comics, and we referred to Mom and Baba as black versions of Betty and Veronica from Archie. A singer and poet, Baba was the free spirit on my mother's side of the family. Since Mom traveled so much with Dad, we'll discuss that later, Baba was like a mom to us when we were growing up. She didn't have to be a disciplinarian. She could just be the favorite auntie, and that's what she was. Baba also handled the family business affairs and correspondence, made Dad's appointments, and kept his calendar. She had her own home and didn't live with us when they were touring. We had nannies and maids for that, but Cookie and I saw her every day. Most important of all, Baba was a great cook, and we loved to hang out in the kitchen with her. Mom and Dad took Cookie into their hearts as well as their home, and the two of us were truly raised as sisters. We were pals, but we were different in many ways. She was the little lady, and I was the tomboy. For much of my childhood, we had Mom and Dad to ourselves. Even though they nicknamed me Sweetie, I wasn't altogether an easy kid. We're going to learn about the mother, but just a little piece about it. You know, the mother was a singer and performer on her own. Okay? But she wasn't singing and performing with Nat King Cole. She was just on the road with Nat King Cole. We have Ray Charles, and remember, his wife wanted to stay home with the children and be a homemaker. She knew what was happening on the road, but what was more important to her was her family at home. I'm a mother, let me raise my children. So in the entertainment world and the athletic world, you have women that just stay home. A lot of them NBA players, their women stay home. Some of them travel with their husbands. Like, what's the lady from Basketball Wives? I forget her name. She beautiful. She's aging well, but she like me. She got the worm neck. What's the lady name? I cannot remember her name. Put it below, y'all. But she traveled with her husband. She wanted to make sure that Negro didn't get no other vaginas. She did whatever it is she had to do to keep that man on her leash. Okay, she was a Leo. So was Nat King Cole's wife, a Leo. But to me, that's kind of crazy because you're in the realm of obsession now. You're obsessed with your husband. You want to stay up your husband's ass so much that now you don't have a life. Okay? Speaking of not having a life, I am so happy that Tiny from Escape is now turned, because now she has more to do than to chase that ninja around. And it's something about Cancer women that they will sacrifice themselves, their family, their morals, their values, everything for their nigga. Okay? And Tip is a trip. Remember when Tiny and Shakana had that reality TV show and Tip was calling from jail, having a nervous breakdown on her like every other show?
Say what hurt me would be like, I'm honestly like my mom being like with Tip all the time.
Damn.
Like even now and today, like that's how it is. Like they're just tied to the hip. I don't know. I feel like kids just long to have their parents. Like I grew up in a great house. Like my grandparents are literally the reason why I am. Like, I don't take no shit, all that. But I wanted my parents.
Natalie Coles' mama was like, I'm married to Nat King Cole. I need to chase my husband. She didn't perform with him like that. I think it was only 2 times. If I'm incorrect, y'all, she only performed with him twice on the road. Well, they ain't stopped no bitches from coming at his ass, that's for sure. I wasn't altogether an easy kid. I didn't consider myself a particularly rebellious child, but I think if you asked my mom, she would probably choose her words very carefully and say that I was very independent. Independent and sassy and my own person. That's me. Early on, if you compared my behavior with my sisters, I was the one who would challenge my mother. And that was something you just didn't do, especially in the era that we were brought up in. You just didn't do that. What you want, Lulu? Early on, if you compared my behavior with my sisters, I was the one who would challenge my mother. And that was something you just didn't do, especially in the era that we were brought up in. You just didn't do that. But I made friends easily. I was a social person, a pretty good kid, and I did well in school. She really didn't have a lot of discipline problems with me. Not that I didn't have other problems. Ever since I was born, I've been allergic to almost everything. Girl, you wouldn't have made it down here in the South, baby. You wouldn't have made it down here in Georgia. Good thing you was out there in Los Angeles. But she was talking about how she was allergic to everything. Cats, dogs, grass, trees. She said she should have been living in a bubble. But that didn't stop her family from indulging themselves in the things they want, because she still had a cat, she still had a dog, she still lived in a neighborhood surrounded by trees. She just suffered, as most of us do down here in Georgia. I had a happy childhood in a sense of creature comforts. Cookie and I were indulged not just with cats and dogs, but with pretty clothes, ice skating lessons, horseback riding lessons, piano lessons, and all the trappings befitting a cultured household. This came from my mother's side of the family, specifically from my great aunt Layla. So even though I lived in certain quarters, I was very, very cultured. My grandmother on my maternal side grew up with Germans, okay? And, all I'm going to say is she learned how to eat well. She learned about the arts. My grandmother is also a Pisces. I'm a Libra sun, Pisces moon. But Pisces, you know, you all are the creators of the universe, and you all really do enjoy the arts, okay? So I was very cultured, sitting right in the middle of the projects of Surfing Quarter. I was very, very cultured. No matter where you live, you could still be cultured. From time to time, my mama would allow me to go outside and play with the children of the Surfing Quarter, but they had me so busy with books, baby. When I tell you, oh my God, so busy with books, so busy with reading books. Some children need constant stimulation, and my mother kept me stimulated with books, okay? I wasn't the brightest child back then. I'm still not the brightest child or the brightest adult, you know, even though my GPA from college says differently. I don't know. But you can be anywhere and be cultured. It depends on what your family aspires to do. Like people, when I go back home, they call me Miss Hollywood. How, nigga, when I grew up right here with you. Now, not in the projects, across the street from the projects, but I chose to read a book. Okay, that's just what I did. That don't mean that I think I'm better than you all. My grandmother on my dad's side, she gave me so much culture also. So it's like, you know, it's what you determine you want to do with your family and your children. You know, before you let them go outside and play, read a goddamn book. Okay, well, kids don't want to go outside and play no more. What the hell am I talking about? The hell? What the helly? What the helly on? What the helly on say? Great Aunt Lala was Dr. Charlotte Hawkins Brown, and she was somebody. The granddaughter of slaves. Lala is a significant figure in Black American history. She was born in Henderson, North Carolina in 1883, moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts as a child, and was educated at the Salem State Normal School. Returning to North Carolina as a teacher in 1902, she founded the Palmer Memorial Institute, one of the first prep schools for African Americans in Sedalia, North Carolina. The school was named for her friend and patron, Alice Freeman Palmer, the first woman president of Wesley College. By the time she died in 1961, Charlotte Hawkins Brown was a nationally recognized educator, lecturer, and religious leader. She was a friend and colleague of Eleanor Roosevelt, Langston Hughes, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Booker T. Washington. Mom and Baba attended Palmer and stayed with Aunt Lala at her home, which she called Canary Cottage. When the Hancock Park neighbors didn't want my family to move in, my mother didn't just take it into her head to write to Eleanor Roosevelt out of the blue. When she was a girl, Mrs. Roosevelt had been a familiar visit to Aunt Lala's home. That's why, man, when I tell you affiliation mean everything, because I'm like, you can't just write a letter to the president's wife and say, hey, we got a problem down here. I mean, if you Nat King Cole's wife, answer yes. But even if she wasn't Nat King Cole's wife, she would have been able to been like, sister, these are the problems we have around here to the hills, in the hills. They won't let us in. Sister said, you know my Judy is Eleanor Roosevelt, right? Ring. Ellie. Yeah, girl. It's me, Lala. My sister over there having some concerns out there in the hills. Lala was also the author of a book on etiquette, The Correct Thing, and she was a powerful influence on my mother's thinking about manners, proper dress, special status, education, and general behavior. Do they have charm schools anymore? And I ain't talking about that shiz Monique was doing. Like, maybe they need that. Maybe they need to start bringing that into the schools. Maybe that'll help. Because the fact that these kids can go to school in slippers, pajamas, and a bonnet and it be okay. And don't tell me nothing about Northwest was out in the streets with a bonnet, some pajamas, and some slippers on. Don't tell me nothing about them. That girl ain't black. I mean, she black, but she ain't black. You like mixed is black? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that girl is rich, super rich, black. Her mammy is Kim Kardashian. She don't count when it comes down to us, okay? Like I told y'all, when I worked at PG County Court, when I got there, I learned a huge lesson, okay? I found out that we had to be bigger, greater, smarter, better than our white counterparts. So don't tell me what the hell a rich black, half white or half, what is her mammy? What does her mammy do? What is her mammy? Armenian child does. Don't tell me about her. She don't know nothing about being poor. Nothing. So I don't give a fuck about what she contributes to the universe. I don't care. I mean, God bless the child that got her own, but she don't count. Under Lala's tutelage, Mom was trained to be a lady, to be comfortable in sophisticated social surroundings. She knew how to sip tea and how to set a table. She had excellent posture and dressed in quite good taste. Her English was and is impeccable. No bad grammar, no oozy southern drawl, no vulgarity. By the time she was finished at Palmer, whatever rough edges my mother might have had were all sanded off. She had better manners than anyone else in Hancock Park / hell. She had better mannerism than 99% of the folks on the planet. Believable. Because it ain't nothing like a uppity old nigga. I'm lying because I'm joking, y'all, because I would be considering my two grandmothers uppity. I'm not. I'm just joking, okay? You might think of Lala as the quintessential Henry Higgins. And like Eliza Doolittle, my elegant mother would have passed for a duchess at any snooty patootie society ball, even though her father had been a mailman. What? Her father was a mailman? That's crazy. Well, my mama used to dance, so.
Natalie Coles.